This is Francisco Nieves, aka Cisco, and I'm your number one man, Mr. El Guapo. And I'm actually here to tell you a little bit about the user agreement for Priceline.com. Um, Hopefully, I'll be able to answer some of your questions as well as maybe give you some of my opinions as a user itself. Um, I do want to point out that this agreement is, to me, in my opinion, it's not a very valid contract because it will not hold its weight in court. And let me tell you a little bit about this reason why. It goes back to the Douglas versus U.S. District Court Talk America, which actually the plaintiff initially procured telephony services from AOL, which subsequently sold its telephone business over to Talk America. Talk America, and I quote, of course, posted revised terms including a new arbitration clause to its website. When Douglas sued Talk America in court, Talk America sought to compel arbitration. Of course, the district court agreed, but the Ninth Circuit actually reversed it. It pointed out that the Douglas hadn't been back to Talk America's website, and even if he did, there was no reason he would have investigated the user agreement. The court says currently, parties to a contract have no obligation to check the terms on a periodic basis to learn whether they have been changed by the other side. So it goes back to what, if there's no way for that person to even wanting to go back to that user agreement, if there's been any changes, what's his motivation to go back in there and check? Basically, that's the reason why I believe it won't hold its weight in court. This is one of the reasons why I believe that maybe an icon or something on a website up at the top, like a little pop-up window, perhaps saying, hey, the agreement has changed since your last visit, please check it and agree with it. That might be able to help increase that in terms of viewer readership, in terms of making sure that they understand what the new user agreements are. What are some of the user obligations? Well, some of the user obligations should be to make sure that they don't copy any of Priceline's graphics, images, any of the word content that they've actually used, any videos and other materials that are on the site. Obviously, some will probably still use it, but as long as they don't use it publicly in a way where they become profitable, things like that. Don't use any of our trademarks, of course, such as Priceline Negotiator or No One Deals Like We Do, etc., etc. Basically, only use the site for what it is intended for, which is to make reservations or make purchases that we offer at the website. One of the biggest obligations that Priceline.com has is, well, basically it's privacy use. We want to make sure that all the user's information is held privately. We don't want to share it with anyone unless it's with their consent. We want to make sure that we abide by those rules. We don't want to allow any minors to actually use the services on the site and to give the services its intended and promises. That's basically the obligation that Priceline.com has. If they say we're going to make the best offers, reservations, things like that, then we have to make sure that we do that. Things that I see that are unenforceable is the indemnification clause. The indemnification is unenforceable because you can never have anyone defend a company just because it says so in the agreement. And even if they did breach the agreement, this agreement was not really signed by anyone. No one may have ever accepted it unless they actually clicked on the little check mark in the agreement box. And even though they stated it just by using their site, it's not very relevant. Just because someone uses the site doesn't mean they automatically agree with the Priceline.com's user agreements, and that's something that I recommend we change. And the only reason it was put up on there was just to intimidate people, to make sure that they stick to the rules that Priceline.com actually put on there. Obviously, just because it's on there and they say they can change it anytime, that's something that I totally disagree. A user agreement should actually be a agreement between users. Just because it's open as a website is to other people, we should still have some kind of responsibility to actually give out that information in terms of the user agreement and make sure that other people are actually aware of it. We want to make sure that, hey, we have a new agreement on there. We want to make sure that you actually read it and click it. If you don't, if you actually do click it, then you abide by these rules. I don't really feel that just going on the website makes them automatically abide them by the rules or bind them to those rules that are in place. And these are just some of the things that I would actually change in terms of the user agreement. Make sure that we do have some kind of pop-up or wrap text, something that actually states it. I mean, we could send mass emails. Again, that could be, you know, filtered out as spam or anything like that, but we want to make sure that that does get done. So again, this is Cisco. Hopefully, Mr. Shatner, excuse me, El Guapo, this helps you out in terms of reevaluating this user agreement. Thank you.